welcome to a new episode of Batman and the Bright Ducks. How you doing?
Hello there, Jails, Julius, whatever you go by these days. You pick a name every day. I'm here, I'm Mado, and I'm ready. Let's do this. What did we watch today?
I say you kick us off and tell me about episode number 3 and 4.
Oh yeah, number 3 and 4. So we started off with, as usual, a new episode number 3, titled "Fine Feathered Finks." Started off real nicely with a little aerial shot of Gotham City, the highway, the port. It's like, oh wow, where are we going with this? But then
I want to jump in there.
Started talking.
Let me just jump in there. Is it established that Gotham is supposed to be New York? Because the aerial shot...
Is it Chicago?
Is it Chicago?
Yeah, it felt... I think it's... And then it felt like that was Times Square or something.
Yeah,
when they went down.
It felt like the New York subway system. It felt like, New York as it was depicted in, like, the Godfather movie. Was it Godfather?
Yeah.
I mean, in old movies from that century, which is the 60s, so fitting. But yeah, I just wanted to comment that it looked like shots from New York.
Though honestly, I don't know how Chicago looks like in 1960 something. So it could look like that. It's just it didn't look like a city. It looked like a port city. So I don't know. And Chicago isn't. So
yeah, that's true. And then even in the new movies, like with the Dark Knight Rises, he flies that bomb over the bay.
There's true. Yeah. Maybe it. I thought it was though. Wasn't it always like Gotham City is Chicago or supposed to be? I've modeled after it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe, but I think originally maybe, but lately it's been New York, and I thought that originally yes, but then seeing this, from the 60s, I was like, hey, wait. I know that lately it's been more New York, but back in the 60s, I thought it would be more like Chicago, but maybe it's just me, with every American city looks like New York, Hollywood eyes.
Of course, especially back then, like that's the only city they wanted to show off.
But sorry, I interrupted you. Some views of the city before we end up at the jewelry store. That was a jewelry store, right?
Yeah. Yes, jewelry store of the jewels of Alibaba.
What?
That's what the name of the store was.
I missed that.
Took me like, okay, is this kind of what the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, or what's this a play on? But yeah, it's jewel store.
Two white men.
The jewels of
two white men in the store.
Alibaba. Yeah. What happens there, Julius? In front of the store, we're looking at the store. It's a jewelry store. A lot of people going back and forth.
And then what we have is a bunch of dudes giving away free umbrellas, which is actually something that directly came to mind. Like, oh yes, all right, we're gonna spoilers. We're gonna see the Penguin in this episode, and the umbrellas. You don't see much of, the Penguin and his umbrellas in the newer Batman material. Not since Danny DeVito did his, classic Penguin.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one that comes to mind immediately when I think of Penguin, it's immediately
DeVito.
Danny DeVito. But then, I guess that other Gotham show as well. I watched a little of that, and of course there's also the Penguin there.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of nice penguins out there, both in video games and movies. It's just that they toned down the umbrellas, and up until DeVito, this reminded me. Oh yeah, it's the Penguin because. Check out the umbrellas. And we're gonna see a lot of umbrellas. We saw a lot of umbrellas in this episode.
It was a lot of umbrellas throughout the episode.
What we basically saw was a fake heist happening. Like my initial was I was very confused because after the this fake heist, which wasn't a heist, it was just messing with this jewelry store. I was like, what's up with the police? What's happening? Did you actually
because
steal something? Did I miss something? I was really confused.
because you're right. The next scene is that we're at the police house and everybody's like, they're looking at the umbrella. So what happened at the jewelry store, which we missed, is that the umbrellas started burning up, right?
That and I think
Which was
snakes.
kind of the
I
thing.
think snakes dropped out of an umbrella.
Snakes?
Yeah, there were like snakes. They started burning. Confetti started
I
shooting
missed
out.
the snakes completely.
Like green snakes started dropping out of the umbrellas. Really crazy, really crazy. Anyways,
Yeah, but-
not to go too deep about the heist. The fact is just that it was a fake heist.
Yeah.
But that's the point of it. But what was really confusing was then you have like, wait, we need to call Batman.
Yes.
We need to call Batman. Blah blah blah. Unanimous vote that they need.
Yeah, exactly. Should we call the Batman? I mean, I love. It's like it's also covered with glass. Like the bat phone is covered with glass, similar to the vibe of the nuclear strikes. Or should we pull out, and it's red as well? Like should we press the red button?
Just in case of emergency.
Yeah, exactly. In case of emergency, lift the glass and press the button. And let's vote for it. Okay, we all voted. We should press the button.
And they all voted for
Batman.
it, but no crime had been done. And so I was really, really confused because I really wanted to, hey Maru, can we go rewind? Because I think I missed something.
You gotta call the Batman when the penguins is loose. You see an umbrella, it's penguin. Can't be anyone else.
And they called the Batman, right? So unanimous vote, they call the Batman. And here's a setup, and I'm gonna spoil it. That doesn't end in anything, because Batman and Robin's or Dick Grayson, and Bruce Wayne. Dick is trying to learn French, and Batman, Bruce Wayne, is encouraging him to not give up. French is important, and if everyone learned, all the languages, there wouldn't be wars. But it's like a setup, and spoilers, no payoff. You don't get a single payoff for that, for the whole show. That actually, I'm positive.
Well,
I'm
yet,
positive
anyway,
so
we
far.
don't know.
I mean, we've seen the whole episode, so spoilers.
No, but I mean, like maybe it is for the future. It's a long show.
Oh,
Who
you mean
knows?
like that?
Next 10 episodes, maybe it's. Oh, but it could have also just been, hey, what's Dick Grayson doing? And at the manor, obviously, he's also studying. What's he studying? French, maybe.
And I mean, there's 90 episodes. I wonder. I'm gonna drop in.
Let's keep it in mind.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it in mind, but I'm just gonna by the end I'm gonna want to talk about the structure of the episodes. So we've seen 4 episodes so far, and they go 2 by 2. So I was gonna say so far at least they've been 2 by 2. And so I was gonna say, well, we have 40 more, not 40, 36 more episodes to see if the French pays off.
Exactly. Well, we're about to find out. So yeah. Anyways, that kicks off the intro song, and then we're in the Batcave. They jump into the Batmobile again, and hey, it's a new scene when they're driving out. It's a different camera angle. Ooh.
Well, wasn't that the same sped up?
This time.
Wasn't that the same sped up scene?
No. Not. It's not. It didn't include the turn, at least, that the first 2 episodes had. Where they actually, drove out of the Batcave and they turned real fast. This one was just like a straight, and then they started, a couple of new shots on the highway, which was a little bit funny. But
they need to vary it a bit.
Yeah, of course. Then they park right outside the police house again, and it's the same Same scene where they're running up towards the great.
Yeah, they're
great
using the
doors,
main door.
main doors. Open it through the main hall up to. I love it.
Like, what a wholesome character, Batman.
Proper citizens.
Yeah, no flying up on rooftops, no, disturbing in middle of
shady.
the night. Just front door, daytime.
Yeah,
Lots of people, crowd, probably queuing, taking their time, not cutting in line. Wholesome, really wholesome.
yeah. The Adam West Batman is not is your average Joe.
And I mean,
You gotta stand.
what happens here afterwards is that they have like conversations with the warden from the prison where apparently Penguin had been. They have conversations with the police chief. They have conversation with a bunch of other background actors, or just non-speaking roles hanging about in the police commissioner's office. And he's so wholesome, Adam West, throughout the whole thing. Like, the warden comes in and talks about his strategy to reform prisoners, and I think even before he says anything about that, Batman goes up to him and says, "I'm a big admirer of your prison reform."
Reforming criminals into proper citizens. That's the 60s mindset. Like, it was starting to be new, at least.
I think you actually mentioned one other thing here where we were watching. The warden, the respect for the wardens. In the 60s, people had respect.
They all revered the wardens, and I revere the warden and the work he does, etc. Nobody's like looking down on the warden. He's just out there to, catch as many criminals, and with today's climate and everything.
Hold your budget. Hold your budget.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
none of that.
Wardens were respected people, and when you said that, like, oh wow. Was it back in the 60s when they last respected wardens? I actually thought about that.
Maybe.
Because I thought about The Longest Yard and a bunch of other older movies where wardens were being elected to governors, were being elected, after being a warden of a prison, they ended up, holding chairs of power within politics.
Of course.
They became mayor, first warden, then mayor, then senator, then governor. Good old times. Being a warden was a respected job.
I mean, it's probably is in some way or in some certain circles. It's always gonna be. Within the prisoner, you're probably gonna respect the warden.
I mean,
if you're in the prison.
Sure, but it makes me think of a different time. It makes me actually think of an old Scrub episode where Kelso was talking about he used to be able to get a haircut for free because he was a doctor in the old days. But nowadays, they don't do that anymore. In the old days, warden was respected, and the natural climbing the hierarchy would be to become mayor or governor or hold office of some sort, but not anymore.
Yeah,
it's not. Times have changed.
Times have changed.
Today, you have to be an Instagram influencer or something, to be respected.
That's the new hotness, man.
Yeah, if you want a free haircut, you better get those likes on Instagram or TikTok, or
get the likes and the followers.
Pick your poison.
The warden pops in with some footage, not even footage, right? Because it's like, or maybe it is footage.
No, it's CCTV.
Radioing in over.
It's CCTV, so it's closed circuit television. Perfect quality. Just the difference between it from the rest of the show is that it's in black and white. That's the same quality.
And that's when we hear it, the U-Day, the mention of U-Day, Umbrella Day, and they're starting to look for umbrella factories. Like, oh, yes, of course, let's look into that. What umbrella factories were opened in the last 3 days? That's
two things.
That's how they found it.
Yeah, but two things there. Since when did cities know exactly which factories were opening? Or where did you have that archive? that you can
There's
just
a
pick that
factory
out.
opening registry. Didn't you not know?
Yeah, and that you can just check out that registry in 5 seconds in paper when you need it.
And it was just opened 3 days ago.
And you know the
it was
name
really
of who
fast.
opened it, and
Of course, KG Bird.
KG Bird. But actually, Mr. KG Bird said something that I had to check out. I had to just check out because he said Big Brother. You know, they spotted the camera, the CCTV camera, and he said something about Big Brother.
That's true.
And that's a reference to Orwell's 1984.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I was just gonna say it's an old reference, or it's an reference to that 1984. So.
And I had to check out because the title of the book is 1984. I had to check out to remember quickly when was 1984 written, and it was written in 49 or something.
Way before 84. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Of course it was, but I was because I was wondering like how does Penguin know about this book?
The CCTV, Big Brother. This whole, I think it was definitely something, but it was already, it's in the 60s, right? It's the Cold War-ish, this thing, and it's
it was already
spying and,
But yeah, did you...
Look out for your neighbor.
Yeah, right. But did you know that in the same decade, the 40s, that's when Penguin was actually created? Like his first...
You mean the actual...
The comic...
The comic...
Yeah, his first appearance was in one of those like 58, somewhere around there, comic of Batman, or the Detective Comics, as Bob Kane called them back then, and he's actually created before 1984 was written by Orwell. He's older than 1984, the book.
Well, there you go.
So
there. Penguin was ahead. That's what we got to. Penguin was always ahead. He knew all about this. It's probably a Penguin scheme altogether.
So much to say about Penguin, but let's talk about what happened next instead. They look up the name, the factory, and we see Penguin running a umbrella factory.
Yeah.
And that's when I know last episode we talked about, I said, hey, I'm looking forward to see more, famous faces of, actors that have been in movies that I have already seen, modern, very, very popular movies. And here we see a very, very dear to me actor, and especially his character, more the character he played though. But
I didn't even recognize him. That's the crazy part.
How could you not recognize him?
Too young. That's why. He looked too young for me to recognize.
So for anyone that wants to know, in this episode, I hope everyone here has seen Rocky, because the Penguin's played by, and I the last name I can pronounce, I hope I don't say this wrong, but Burgess Meredith, Rocky's trainer Mickey, he plays the Penguin. It's just such a contrast to his Mikey character. He still has this, like his teeth are really kept together whenever he speaks. It's still that, but so colorful in a sense compared to Mikey.
This was our first lengthy, I guess, scene with the Penguin, and he's not as striking as the Riddler was in the first 2 episodes, honestly, but still.
I like that. I like that a lot.
He's much more, Also, like, for example, the whole idea is that his whole plan is that he doesn't have a plan. He and Batman will become partners in plunder, and Batman shall hatch the plan for me, right? So a completely different dynamic, another completely other villain. Really, you could easily see more of that goofiness, but this one wasn't as It was definitely goofy still, but or had its goofy moment. I mean, it's still Batman show here, but yeah.
I really enjoyed two things here. One, that he wasn't that goofy. Not. I know commented this last time. Not a second Joker. He's really his own character. He's holding it together in a different style. Plus, I want to say I applaud that they did such a complex story, for their second villain appearance in the show so early on. Like, second villain appearance, and he's already coming up with this complicated scheme where Batman is becoming an accomplice in the crime.
Yeah.
So I'm really impressed by that as well.
They had to start strong.
Yeah,
let's see if they keep it strong.
So for me, that was really impressive. I mean, there's a whole lot in this back and forth with Penguin and his henchmen.
That's a lot of banter in between there, and I love their names as well. Hawkeye and
Sparrow.
What's the other one? Wait.
Was it Sparrow? Yeah.
Yes, the feathered.
It says it on the T-shirt. So that if Penguin forgets, he can see the name on the shirt.
Yeah. That was the first scene with Penguin, or not the first scene, but the first real scene with the Penguin. And then, we obviously see the Batmobile going around, a lot of fake outs. So they're trying to catch Penguin by finding umbrellas around the city and where they're shipped. And they get to this bank where obviously people are again walking in with umbrellas, but it's another fake out.
Yeah, because the plan is, so what we see after that, it's the plan from Penguin is that, hey, he's just messing about until he can provoke Batman to come up with a real plan, a real heist for him, and tell him how to perform the heist as well. Yes. But in that the fake out that you mentioned, there's in this scene a trash can where they put all the umbrellas and they cover it up and smoke comes out of it because fire or something, but the trash can, is that an homage? Had Star Wars come out yet? I've forgotten when.
I actually don't know if Star Wars had come out by then. Probably.
I think so. Could be. I think Star Wars had come out because that trash can with a cover over it makes these beep bop sounds, just like R2-D2. It's so hilarious.
It actually had not even come out. Not even
was
close.
It in the 70s?
Wouldn't even come out for another 10 years. Yes, but this is in the 60s.
Oh, Star Wars came out in the 70s.
So this was... It really did sound like R2-D2. So I'm guessing it was just a sound effect that they both used.
There you go. We talked about Mikey, Berg's Meredith playing, in this show and then showing up in a big motion picture that we still remember. That's where R2-D2 made his first appearance.
Exactly. Yeah.
He played in the bank heist of this episode, and then 10 years later, he got a spot on Star Wars.
There wasn't probably a lot of ways to do electronic sounds back then, so whoever made up with those sound effects, he found the gold, basically. Everybody had to go to that person and be like, oh, I'd like some electronic sounds, some beep beep boop boop, robotic stuff, and there you go, R2-D2.
And it's cute that, and it's fun that they try, these fake heists pop up, but then they, visit Penguin directly because they're frustrated. But there's something that I should have noticed earlier, but this is actually the first time, so I'm just going to check if you noticed this. Batman has drawn on eyebrows.
No, I have not noticed that. Do you even see the eyebrows?
He has white lines or something like that. He has lines above, you need to look at Batman's face next time we see. He has drawn on eyebrows on his mask. And
Love it.
I kept looking the rest of the episode. There's just one thing that I hope I'll see this in other episodes, because at first I just giggled. Oh, we have to talk about this. But then I sat there to look at it because I thought about Rorschach's mask, and I missed potential that they didn't redraw the eyebrows for different scenes. Like if he was
Yeah,
surprised,
that would be fun,
if it was mad, he's never mad, but if they were flipping the eyebrows, not digitally like and with Rorschach's mask, but between scenes, between shots,
some animation there. Yeah,
you can have like
exactly.
a surprised face, and then cut back the normal eyebrows.
Yeah, and then on their way back out of the umbrella shop, because obviously they're frustrated, they can't pin anything on the penguin. He sets out he puts out his bait, which is a small umbrella on a big umbrella that he shoots out from the roof.
And somehow, did you see the car crash? Did you notice the car
that
crash?
crazy taxi stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that's like, all right, let's spend an extra $1,000, 10,000 on this budget. I'm saying 1,000, but since it's the 60s, it's probably 10,000 today. The taxi stops, but then it keeps rolling, and then it steers into trash cans.
And steers into the trash, exactly. Yeah, well. But yeah, the Batman, then obviously Batman and Robin stops, sees the umbrella. They see the small umbrella on the actual, what is it called, the handle of the
Yeah.
umbrella, because this one is like it's flipped on its head, I suppose. He starts climbing the umbrella. I thought that was funny. Throws the damn batarangs and starts climbing it.
I mean, and then they get this small umbrella, which, of course, it's another trap. It's like there's a microphone in it, but at the same time, which came first? Did they first discover that it had a microphone, or did they plan to put a bug microphone?
No. They. So the next step was for Batman to then they discovered, oh, we're gonna bug him, but the Penguin hadn't even started the radio transmitter yet. He didn't know of this plan. He didn't know anything. He was like, okay. So they were mostly just investigating the umbrella that they just got, or the Batrella as it's called, but nothing had yet been discovered regarding the radio transmitters, so those aren't actually on until the next time, the next episode rather.
All right, but so in this episode,
So
they run off with the umbrella that they got from him, but then they come back, right? They don't know that there's
yeah, as Bruce.
right. Okay, so they come back, but since Penguin doesn't know Bruce comes to the store, and that's where the episode then ends, not because Penguin knows Bruce is Batman, but he thinks he's an industrial spy.
Yes, Bruce is trying to bug him, and so it sets off the anti-bugging alarm in the shop.
Amazing. And the fun thing here, Penguin really loves his factory. He's got principles.
Of
He
course.
hates industrial spies. And it ends just like the cliffhanger, but now with Bruce instead of Dick, in peril and danger and captivity with one. But
Don't forget.
was that the worst narrator ever?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Did he lose it already in season 1? Like the passion for the project? He must have been better in the previous episode, right? And with the Riddler, because this sounded like he was reading from a paper.
Yeah, very much so. But I always felt he was a little bit too stale.
I thought it was stale, but I thought that was hilarious. And the second episode, with the
The
Riddler,
recap.
when he did the recap,
Oh, you mean that? Yeah.
when he did the recap, that was stale. But now it was, the end, the cliffhanger. But there was really no passion, no emotion. It sounded just like he was reading off a paper, and I was like, are they doing this for effect, to be fun? Or
Yeah,
is it
it's funny to be stale sometime, stale reading. Oh, this happened and that happened, or this thing will happen. What is
that's
going on?
why that's why I loved it, when they read it that way in the second episode, when with the recap.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
happened, and then that happened, and then
yeah.
this happened, and then that happened. But now it was like, will he blah blah blah? Will he blah blah blah? Will he blah blah blah?
Yeah, it
Find
was
out
yeah.
tomorrow.
Find out same time tomorrow. Yeah, so they imprison him. They're supposed to be. They put him on a conveyor belt towards the furnace, the tempering furnace, and then it ends. Yeah, that was
But of
pretty much
course.
episode 3, of course.
And then Mado, what's the next episode? Because it's a two-parter.
Of course, we just got our bat caught and he needs to be rescued. And yes, the rest will happen in the Penguin's Jinx. I suppose he jinxed himself at some point, but yeah.
And of course, the first thing that happens, Bruce escapes.
He's still on the belt.
He's still on the conveyor belt, but he escapes from it.
Yeah, oh, yes, he does. How does he escape? Do you remember how he escapes? I thought that was funny.
I did not
He
find it
grabs
like a
his
fun joke.
cigarettes
Yeah, a
later.
cigarette lighter. Yeah.
And because obviously Penguin is watching this happening in real time, he's like, ooh, it's a lifetime supply of butane gas. And he throws it in and it explodes the furnace. I'm like, what is going on here?
But there was one thing I thought about at that point. The Penguin should also be doing the narrations, because he was watching what was happening, and he was narrating. I was like, he should be doing the
For
narrations for every episode.
Yeah, he was great. He was great.
give him a raise and give him in that second role. Let him do it. He's
The crazy part
hilarious.
was the next part, which is like, now it makes sense to me because I didn't think of it. That it's that the Batrella, the radio so the umbrella that the Batman still has in the Batcave, now that he's escaped, has a radio transmitter, as we learned. We learn now, but it doesn't kick in until 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock, they could finally start listening in at what was going on in the Batcave. Which is perfectly timed, because that's when Batman gets back as well.
Was there a point to it being 6 o'clock?
No, I mean, I don't know, but it solves the idea of them not having been able to listen to them before. But I don't know. I don't think there was a point. Maybe there is something that I missed, but it made perfect sense with Batman escaping and being back, so that they don't even, miss out on the fact that they had Batman in captivity all along.
Yeah. But then it's a big, everything happens just like the Penguin wanted it to happen. And
Exactly.
and they plan his heist. And they do it exactly like Batman told them to do it, but they have, some bonus gadgets, like a big magnet
Yeah.
that they bring with them. And the plan is, let's kidnap this actress.
Dawn Robbins, because the name was striking, because Dawn, and they made some one Dawn gone, but another comes, but then another comes. The narrator says, I thought that was funny. So they're supposedly kidnapping Dawn Robbins, the actor from Mockingbird or something. I guess it's all in the world, so probably not the real Mockingbird actor or actress. Who's obviously, it was an elaborate scene with zip lines and everything, because
But
they know exactly how to get to her now.
But for me, there was only one thing that I really, really remember that I want to, from all of this, from the kidnapping, from the point when they come up with the plan to the point where they've actually kidnapped successfully. And it is that I think Bruce is a bit of a stalker.
Yeah, he
Because
certainly is.
he knows who she is, her name, what she's played in, where she lives, every single detail. It's like, uh-oh. And I
That's what
think
the
that
world's
comes.
greatest detectives gotta know, man. It's either he knows it or he's not the world's greatest detective. Or he's a stalker. I don't know.
And yeah. And it actually comes up in the end.
Yeah.
Because at the end, he's like, he wants to go talk to her. So you kind of get the sense that he was a bit infatuated with her from the get go. But he seems disappointed, or Dick seems more like it's a fun thing, but that she's starstruck and in love with Batman, which is sort of. I think they did that in the old movies. I think they did it in the Val Kilmer movie with
Yeah.
with Kim Basinger, but they flipped it so that Batman went in the end, walked over to Kim Basinger's character, and I don't remember the details, but then she refuses him for Bruce Wayne, and he's happy about it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the same kind of. Yeah, maybe it was inspired by this one. Who knows?
I don't know. It's like
Otherwise, it's like, yeah.
last time, the big fight in the Moldavian tent inspired the Joker crashing the party. This time it's the reverse. Lady is in love with the other ego, or the other character, which is the alter ego, in this case Batman. But yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I hope they use these for some inspiration, because they're fun.
Yeah, it's,
Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this show.
exactly. So yeah, what the next step was, obviously they kidnapped her. So the next was for the police to pay up the ransom, which is I don't even remember the sum, but a big sum. It's a big luggage of money. They plan it for it to be basically the exchange is supposed to be happening at Wayne Manor. So they go to Wayne Manor, and they even poison Alfred just to.
Is anyone allowed to just walk into Wayne Manor?
Apparently so. They just call the bell, and they can just as easily as that poison Alfred.
I wanna do my exchange at the Wayne Manor. Let's have a party. Where? At the Wayne Manor.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne is nice like that. This is my crib, yo. Mi casa, su casa.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they succeed. He goes in. Like you said, poisons with the knockout gas both Alfred and the dynamic duo who's hiding, in these old knight armors at the entrance, or at least that's what we're meant to believe. And then they hide actually in the in Penguin's factory, jump out at the nick of time to surprise them, and then have a classic Batman 60s fight.
Finally, I even wrote in my notes, there was finally a fight scene, because there hadn't been so far no fights at all for 2 episodes, and the last
it was 2 minutes peaceful.
It wasn't as good as the Riddler fight scenes, but it was there. Not a lot of gadgets were used.
They did some fencing. Effects. I thought Dick would fencing. At least, going back, to the payoff to the French, I thought at least, at minimum, Dick would say "en garde," or someone would say "touché" in this scene. Like I said, so far fun show, but this made me so disappointed.
You want
no French. I wanted setup, payoff. Say
It would
on
have been
guard.
something.
Say
Maybe-
something in French.
Maybe it would have been. Yeah, but it's too obvious. That's why they didn't go for it. Who knows?
Maybe
yeah,
it's too. But it's the 60s. Not everyone knew French. Obvious cliches hadn't been made yet. Perfect opportunity. There's a reason why they weren't made. Now today we think about them. They're easy. But back then, the directors didn't have it in them to put a en garde touche after a wonderful setup in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then they foil and they have like this little party where, like I said, the actress
Can't finish off without a party.
Well, it's something from the Wayne Manor where they're Bruce and Dick again. But I wanted to comment before, as we now reach the end of the episode. So far, they have the exact same structure.
I think it's gonna
you
be
think
the
it?
exact same structure for almost the entire series. It's
It starts with, I mean, they call him on the red phone. He's Bruce and Dick's doing some mundane stuff in the house. Come in to the police office, have a talk, some in between banters, a heist, something in between there. But then the Trojan horse for the second time, basically popping out as a haha surprise fight round off at the Wayne Manor.
I'm sure. I'm hoping. I'm hopeful that there's going to be some variety. But I mean, it's a long show as well, 3 seasons. So maybe first season is pretty much that. Also, this was targeted to kids, and kids like structure. Or almost every kid
True,
show
and,
is very structured. Like this happens and that happens and that happens.
But it's also middle, ending the first episode on one weeknight with one of the characters being captured.
You gotta have a cliffhanger.
And then cliffhanger, next episode, get out of it.
Yeah.
So the structures, I'm gonna have to. I don't want to accidentally spoil anything, but I really want to dig into the structures, the thinking behind these. I don't know if at what point it's okay to read up a little bit extra, because
we
starting
can do research, even though let's not spoil the whole thing for us though.
Don't want to spoil anything. That's the thing. I don't want to spoil anything, but so far seeing a pattern.
Yeah. I'm sure this will keep developing this pattern, and we'll see more of it almost assuredly. I think almost all. I don't know. I do remember. I feel like it's an easy, setup and way to go through a show real quickly for even back then writers to just like, okay, this is what happens, and we need a scene where it's like a storyboard kind of thing. Okay, then we need obviously the crime, and then we need a scene with Dick and Bruce. They need to talk about something, and then etc. So it just follows the same structure. They just have any writer inputting stuff.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see.
It's still strong in my opinion. I'm still enjoying it. We're still want to see more. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week with another one of these, and it'll be episode 5 and 6. Until then, I'm Mado.
And I'm Julius.